if I could have all of the non-KY people, non-air KY people, step right over here, please. Okay, all of you who are a part of the support staff, that includes Sheila and your girls, that includes Marsha, that includes her. Please make a room for these guys to come here, please. And what we're going to do is we're going to introduce each and every one of you to the people who, day in and day out, behind the scenes, without having any glory at all, kept KY102 on the air. Okay? These weren't the people you heard about or anything like that, but these were the people who sold the time to keep KY running, who made sure all of the stuff flowed smoothly. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have each one of them introduce who they are, what they did, how long they were there, and if they want to, a little brief message. So for each person that you see here tonight, please give them a very heartfelt, warm welcome, because without them, KY would not exist. Okay? What? Get your boots on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I knew this woman would start this whole thing right here. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome our den mother while we were at the Signal Hill Studios. Would you please welcome Sheila Moore, or as we like to call her, Sheila Mo.
Sheila Mo. I was the office manager from 1975 until 1997 for both stations. I love these people. They're my family, and I'm so happy for tonight. Thank
you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the first woman I met when I walked in the studios at KY102. She was the woman that was at the front desk, and she goes, "Hi, can I help you?" And now when you walked in the building at Signal Hill, this was the first face that greeted you. And you know what? She looks exactly the same now as she did 30 years ago.
Thank you very much. I'm Marsha Rogers, and I was the receptionist there at K1. And I was there from 1983, and I stayed there actually 25 years.
And now, there's a song by Warren Zevon called Carmelita. And I used to run into Carmelita in the halls, and I would go, "Carmelita, hold me tighter," and she'd go.
Hello, everyone. I don't even know what to say. Wow. It's awesome. I started off at KY102. I don't even remember the year. I think like 85 or whatever as a receptionist. And I loved it. Everyone was my family. I moved on to traffic and worked with Gail Whitson and all the DJs and the sales staff. And this is awesome to be here tonight, everybody.
Carmelita, hold me tighter. Who's next? Ladies and gentlemen, this was the general sales manager when I got to tell you a really quick story. I was a lonely guy, moved here from Moline, Illinois, and I was talking to this guy right here, and I go, "Man, what am I going to do?" And he goes, "Hey, what you going to do, doctor? You're going to stand at the intersection of Pennsylvania and Westport Road. You're going to stand there until some beautiful woman picks your ass up." I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Don't forget it, man. You're a rock star."
It really is. I'm Joe Nucci, happy to be alive because everything you saw in there, I was at every one of those, and I'm standing here and I can still talk. I have to tell you one thing. A couple of us went backstage when Willie Nelson was there, and Willie came out of his trailer and he went, "Hello, boys," and pulls out a Bob Marley joint about this big, and I went, "Hell yeah," because we're KY102.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta, just give me a second. This guy is the coolest guy in the world. Without him, I would not be here tonight. This was a guy whose vision and his beautiful sight of KY102 is what it turned out to be. And I introduce you, and I'm proud to say that this is my friend. This is a Vice President, General Manager of KY102, and he needs no introduction.
I'm extremely taken back. For without Randy Really, none of us would be here tonight. Hey, listen, I've just facilitated some of this stuff. There were so many great people that worked at this station. Yes. That did it without them. Max Floyd, for Christ's sake. Where's Max Floyd? Without the people, we couldn't have made this station. So I hopefully facilitated some of this, and God bless you. This is a great night. Randy said it would be this way, and by God, he made it happen. So thank you all so much. Thank you.
Did he ever say who he was? This is Bob Garrett, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Garrett. Who's next? Is he? Mike? This is a guy that we lovingly call Soup. And he is probably one of the coolest people I've ever met. And without his guidance in getting all of those commercials on the air, KY would never happen. It's the way it works.
That was sales manager and general manager, and we want to thank you all, you guys, for supporting KY over the years. It was a great run. We had a lot of great people. Come on up. We appreciate, like I say, you guys made Kansas City proud. Thanks for supporting the station all these years. Appreciate it.
That's Marsha Colby, Super Sales Sleuth. I'm Debbie Van Pelt.
I'm Mike Edinger. I sold radio at KY from 1982 to 1986. And Marsha and I are the ones who came up with the idea of the dry ice on Jack Posinger on Jack Goes the Movie.
Like I said, we're all family. We all love each other. Now, not only was there KY102, but after KY102 went off the air, there was an attempt to bring it back. And so with that in mind, I'm going to give you the guy who brought it back is 99.7 KY. So without any further ado, Z.
Randy, there was no attempt. Within 60 days, in 1997, when some stupid-ass company called CBS Radio decided to take KY102 off the air, I was fortunate enough in the best. I've been managing radio stations for over 40 years in Kansas City. The best opportunity, the best relationship I ever had was 99.7 KY. When I got to get Max, Tana, Moffat, got all those people back on the air, and that radio station went to #1 in less than 60 days. Thank you for your support.
And it gives me a great deal of pleasure to bring you the guy who put together the video. And to tell you what a dear friend of mine he is the godfather of my daughter. And I'm serious as a heart attack. He's the godfather of my daughter, Emily.
Trust me with it. Frank, and I was the kid that was the intern at the station, and from 1978 to 1980, I was the one taking the pictures. I was the one that got to drive the station vehicle and give away freebies and get to have fun and party with all you all. And then I went to the dark side and I became a salesman. I did that for 2 years. But I gotta tell you, since I moved to St. Louis, but no station rocks like KY102. No comparison.
That is my brother. Thank you so much. Who's next? Oh God, it's the lovely Kathy. Come on, Kathy. And here's the thing, I don't know what it was about the water at KY102, but she looks exactly the same way now as she did 30 years ago. I don't get it. And Ellen looks the same way as she did 30 years ago. What the heck's going on?
Hi, Kathy Thompson. I was promotion director at KY during the chill outs. The 102, the Silver Bullet Chiefs cheers.
I have to say thank you, Randy, because I was probably like many of you, where I would come home from school and I would be listening to KY, call the station, and I would request a song, and Randy would always pick up. And on my 16th birthday, I got into the studio. He let me come in and visit, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I was a studio rat the minute I could be. And so thank you, Randy, for my career in radio and music, and thank you guys for supporting the station. It was the best time of my life. Thanks to Kathy for bringing me on. Thanks, everybody.
Is there anybody else who'd like to step up? All right, ladies and gentlemen, can we have the air staff over here to my right? We have the air staff, and I don't care what particular order you're in, but I'm not going to introduce any of them because they don't need any introduction. Can we start with Mr. Stan Andrews, ladies and gentlemen?
I always have to have some sort of a prop when I'm around this guy. You guys are fantastic. I am so impressed with this crowd. I swear to God, I didn't know what to expect. You guys are fantastic. We had an opportunity to work at a radio station that made a difference because we listened to what the listeners were telling us, and that's what we executed. So that's the product of KY102, and you guys made it happen. Thank you very much.
Here's a guy who's still on the radio in Kansas City, and he and I, we used to have a little deal where I would call him up and I'd go, Rosedale's 10 minutes, be there. And you know what? He always showed up.
Hey everybody, how are you? I'm Steve Garrett. After 37 years, I am still doing this on weekends at 101 The Fox. And if you ever come out to a Mavericks game, you can come say hi because I'm the stadium announcer of the Mavericks. But you know what? It's this guy that's responsible for me getting on the radio at KY102. Let's give a big round of applause for Randy Raley for putting this thing together tonight. I've seen a lot of familiar faces tonight, and I just want to say thank you very much for supporting us, for supporting me, and still being with us as our family. Thank you very much for being here. Okay. Also, someone said I got to mention the Glutton for Punishment Club. Anybody remember Glutton for Punishment Club? There you go. Thanks again.
Okay. Bottom of the second, the Royals are up 1-0. And now we're going to hear from, shall we say, the early air staff.
May
Many moons gone by. Most people here do not remember me, but Casey Stengel from July 1st, 1974. One of the early staff with Dick and Max and Chris Kelly, Cliff Bean, and all those guys. It's a pleasure. Thank you for a great night. It's a pleasure. I want to say one special tribute to a gentleman who was not on the videotape, a man who brought me out here to Kansas City from Cleveland and then Indianapolis, a guy by the name of Ron Voss, who was the first station manager, sales manager at KY, great man. And I want to leave you with the voice of John Merker of the early days of KY102, the radio station. KY102.
Freddie. And now here's a guy that I have known since we were both punk kids in the Quad Cities. And the deal of it is that he and I used to hang out together all of the time, and he was really, really happy when I got the job at KY, and I got the job for him. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Fred Rocks.
First of all, I want to say to Randy, we go back a long ways together, and God bless you, brother. You are my brother. And to all of you, I want to say this. I want to say thank you to all of you because you all made our life. All of us who are on stage, the KY family, you made us and you gave a great life. And thank you to all of you. We raised some money, we did some great things together, and so with every good wish, on behalf of all of our family, God bless you, and thank you, and be talking to you.
Oh, darling, come on. You, Katie, come on, baby. I'm just going to introduce her with 3 words. I love her.
Oh, hell, I haven't been in the microphone in a long time, so I'm going to talk a minute. Damn. So, a friend calls me and says they're having auditions for news girls at KY. I said, what the hell's that? I'll go. So I did. And I'm standing there in line with about 92 other women, and this good-looking guy walks by, and I said, damn, I'd give him 5 minutes of my time. And he hears me. And I go, oh, shit. And he turns around, and it's Max Floyd. I don't know if he remembers that, but he stopped in his tracks, and he just smiled. And I went, well? And then somebody goes, God, that's the program director. I said, oh, man, I've blown this job. But I was a singing and dancing wench before I went on this, and Dick and Jay, it was for the Dick and Jay show. And when I was an actress, I actually got on a table and sang for them, and I'm sure they looked up my skirt. So I walk in for the interview, and I'm wearing a suit because the part's for a news girl, and I think I'm getting the job as a news girl, and they go, you dress like that all the time? And I went, no. And I got the job. And it was death by fire because Dick Wilson and Dick and Jay tied my pigtails together. They burned my news. They brought Marilyn Chambers into the studio. She stripped naked. And I walk in and there's a naked woman. And I'm going, damn, why do I feel uncomfortable? And she sat on Jay's lap. And since Jay is not here, I could say there was a major salute.
Jay's not here. Keep going, baby.
Oh, baby. Anyway, I had a wonderful run on KY102. I loved it. I then moved over and did 95. A lot of you guys, I raised your ass, okay? And don't you forget it. Do you remember Night Times with me, boys? Oh, we had fun, didn't we? Ooh. I'm still married. I got 2 boys. One of them is a fabulous musician by the name of Patrick Woolham. His band's the Transients. And if you don't think I don't want you to go see him play, I raised a rock and roller, okay? And I thank you all, and I just want to say to all the men that come up after me, I just want to tell you a little secret. I work nights. I know what you guys did. And if I ever decide to write a book, it's about $1,000 per man.
Okay, I think you've run out of time, Katie. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Your time's up.
$5,000.
Yeah, thank you. Your time's up. I love you. I love you. Katie McGuffin, ladies and gentlemen. Katie McGuffin. First time I was introduced to this young woman, she was an intern at KY, and she came into the studio and she had this torn leather jacket, she had a safety pin in her ear, and she was this little plump girl. And I can remember the first time that I played Bob Seger. I get a fax from this organization called Crabs, and it's called Current Rockers Against Bob Seger. Coalition of Rockers Against Bob, whatever. And I just gotta tell you that of all of the DJs that have come through my life and all of that, this is still my daughter's favorite DJ. And I'm not kidding you. It's Tracy White.
First off, let me just say that Katie, the First Lady of Rock and Roll, and the First Lady of Rock and Roll, can I just tell you? You raised me, can I tell you that? Love you. And when I started at KY102, I ended at 99.7. In between, there was a whole lot of radio stations in between, and a whole lot of fun, and a whole lot of naughtiness and raunchiness with every one of these people here. And the thing with every one of these people that I worked with at KY, I have so much fondness for. And when Katie left, I was working at Lone Star, and every one of you guys hung out there. And I was told, Katie's going to be leaving. And I was like, really? I want that job. I don't know what possessed me to think that I could just step into that job, but I'm a ballsy bitch. If you've met me, you know that. So I was like, I went up to a friend of mine and I said, you know, could you like put in a good word for me? And I was impatient. He didn't get on it fast enough, so I just called the station. And I didn't know, I said, can I speak with Scott James? And I didn't think they'd actually give me the program director. I didn't think I had that kind of clout. Apparently I do. And he answered the phone. I was like, hey, I want to interview for Katie's job. And he's like, I didn't think you'd be interested. I go, I don't know if I'm interested. I just want to talk to you about it. And he's like, okay, come on down. So I went on down. I went through 3 interviews, by the way, and he explained to me that he couldn't just give me a major market job right away, but I could talk about part-time. Long story short, Skid Rody, who we hung out many times drinking, he and Randy, we drank all the time. We got in a lot of trouble and partied many nights. Is the guy who he sends me to Skid Show, and he's like, Skid will train you on the board, right? Okay, this this was not really much of a training session. Okay? So I go in, Skid's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing great. I go, you're supposed to show me the ropes. He's like, okay. So Skid's cigarettes are there. His pipe is there. His bag is there. and he's like, and he looks at me and he goes, all right. He goes, so, this runs this is that. You just push that and there you go. And he's like, I'm gonna go take a smoke break. Walks out, grabs everything, and he walks out the door and it's about 45 seconds. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh shit. And I go like this. And I'm like, oh, and it's in slow motion. Oh no. And I'm like pushing buttons. He comes back and I'm like running things. And I come back and he goes, what's up? And I go, I can't believe you did that to me. And he goes, what? I go, everything went, he left and everything. And he's like, was there dead air? And I go, no. And he goes, what the fuck's the problem? So, there you go. That was my introduction to radio. Everything turned out all right. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you. I love all of you.
Jock. Come on, Jock. Ladies and gentlemen, the guy who brought you the blowouts.
We're not going into those. Too many bad things happen. I came to KY in 1978 with Ray Sherman doing Nighttime Magazine. And my first, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, just doing movie reviews, I thought. But we had a guest on one of the early shows. Her name was Hayapesha Lee. She was a porn star. And they said, Jack, you'll interview her. What the hell do you ask a porn star? You know, everything you're going to ask is going to come back bad. And it did. So I said, well, now, in a regular movie, you have 4 or 5 takes per scene. And I said, well, in a porn movie, how many takes do you have per scene? She said, depends how often the guy's able to get it out. That was kind of my introduction. Then she took her clothes off, and it lasted from 1978 through the end of KY102 all the way through 99.7 KY. One hell of a long one, and I thank you very much.
Ray Sherman. All right, when I when I got to Kansas City, I left a love behind, and my heart was broken. And Ray and I were sitting one night at Fred Piazza, and he goes, "Randy, I've got the perfect remedy for he said, I've got the perfect remedy for a woman." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Another woman." Good advice. Ray Sherman, ladies.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me out here again. It's been so many years, and as time has gone by, I realize that my time at KY102, which was like 1976 through 81, was really a really short time in the total timeline of the entire station. But I was really honored to be a part of it. I'll tell you how it came to be just real quick here. I came to Kansas City in 1974. I was 20 years old, a DJ, looking to get a little bit more money from where I was at in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I sent a tape out to KBEQ. Yeah, Super Q. I had no idea what they were, except that they were on FM. And I got the job, and I came out here in September of '74, which happens to coincide with the month that KY102 came on the air. So here we were down in the River Key broadcasting for a couple of years, with every 12-year-old in Kansas City calling us up. I had to play Billy Don't Be a Hero every hour. But I did have a friend who worked across the street at KY102, everybody in town was talking about KY102, and it's where I wanted to work, and it's the music I listened to. I didn't listen to the top 40. So he started calling up while I'd be on the air. His name was Spike Santee. You might remember Spike. He worked at night on KY102, and he said to me one time, he calls me up, he goes, I'm getting ready to go down to Oklahoma. I'm going to give my resignation. Do you want me to tell Max that, you know, you'd be interested in coming over here? Hell yes. And so I got a call from Max a week or two later, and the rest is history. It was like a culture shock. I mean, I got over to KY102, different place to work, totally different than what I'd been working at. And it was the 4 best years of my life in the 30 that I spent in radio. And those guys down there, the support, the on-air people, that was a great place to work, let me tell you. It really was. And I have nothing but great memories, and I want to thank everybody for coming out and having me come down part of this. I live in Madison, Wisconsin now. I got 6 grandsons. Yeah. And I still like to rock and roll. Only I play it instead of on the radio. I jam with my friends now all the time. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the man, the legend. Randy, fucking murderer's row over here. You are the friends I deserve. You really are. The way I got to KY, I was working in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We were part of a big thing called Superstars. They were a bunch of stations that were sort of the same all around the country. And they were just well thought out. They came in and smashed other stations to pieces, and that's how, you know, KY became famous, and my station became famous. And I started getting calls from around the nation, send me a tape. Well, the last tape I sent was to Kansas City, was to KY102. And they said, well, we want to fly you out. We'd like to fly you out. We're having a thing called Stadium Jam. I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds really cool. We had Arrowhead. I'd never seen a big show like that before. So I'm all amped up. I'm getting ready. Okay, we'll pick you up at the airport. So I go to the airport in Albuquerque. And, hi, I'm going to Kansas City. There should be a ticket under my name. No, we don't see any ticket here. I said, I'm sure there's a ticket because they're going to pick me up in Kansas City. No, there's no ticket. I was driven to the airport by my drug dealer, Munch. And Munch fronted me the money for a one-way ticket from Albuquerque to Kansas City. And I got to the airport in Kansas City, and I just told him, hey, I paid my own way to get here. I deserve the fucking job. Basically, that's what I said. I shamed them for the entire weekend, like, well, he could have paid my ticket. And that was 32 years ago. 32 wonderful years. Thank you so much. Wait a minute. One addendum why Skid Roadie was up for a job. I got into a fight with Bob Garrett one day, and I was getting ready to, I said, well, screw you guys, I'm going to go across the street to work at 106.5 KKCI. And he goes, oh yeah? He said, if you really want to piss me off, he said, you'll go to work for your buddy Larry Moffat in Denver. And I said, okay, pal, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I left for KY102 for Denver in 1982, and this is the guy who they hired, Skid Roadie. I got to Denver in 1982, and I went, what the hell did I just do? Oh my friggin' God. And I think I called Bob every day after that going, God, come on, man, come on, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, that's how Skid got to Kansas City. So you're welcome. Thank you very much. Tana. Ladies and gentlemen, Tana Guthrie.
All right, I'm going to be quick to get Shooting Stars ready to play, okay? I was at KY for 20 years, the best radio years of my life, working with Max and Moffat and everybody. And the Elvis Parade and the Guinness Book of World Records, all of that. And today, I'm a firefighter, and today I rescued an aardvark and a puppy. Thank you very much. I'm still married to Jeff. My son Sterling is a junior at MU, and life is very good. Miss you guys. It's so wonderful seeing you here tonight. Thank you so much for coming out. And thanks to Randy. Are you doing it, Max? Oh, we got to wait for the jungle.
Patty, yeah, exactly. That's the shortest break Tana's ever done, right there. Ladies and gentlemen, part of the very first, by the way, is Joe McCabe in the house? He told me he was going to be here tonight. So anyway, there's a couple of people. Joe McCabe, one of the greatest guys in the world. Let's hear it for Joe McCabe. Let's hear it for Jay Cooper. Let's hear it for Frankie. I tried to get him here, I did, but previous commitments, you know how that goes. Let's hear it for Larry Moffat. And now let's hear it for Dick Wilson.
Well, first off, I'd like to welcome all of you who are my children that I don't know about. Jay cannot be here. He is in jail still. And we hear from him every now and then. No, I had the honor of playing the first song on KY102 when it started on July 1 of 1974. And that was that Too Many People song by Paul McCartney. Why did I play that, people ask? Well, I don't know. I just liked it at the time. And it was last week when I was talking to Randy Raley that I think he let me know why we played that, because of the line of too many people going underground. And back at that time, FM radio was those slow talking guys playing 17 minutes of a Grateful Dead song. And KY102 was the first personality radio that came to Alma Rock, and we went on from there. So, you know, more than anything, I appreciate being a part of your memories. I appreciate you coming up to me and telling me the things you remember that Dick and Jay did, some of the things I've forgotten, and it's nice to hear that we did those kind of things. I appreciate the time you got out of your cars at the high school and did the Iron Man walk when you played that Black Sabbath. I appreciate you signing the Dick and Jay Cruiser and going out to Worlds of Fun thinking he was actually buried out there. So it was good. I'm still on the air at 94.9 KCMO in the morning. This is my 43rd year on the air here in town. So, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please get on your feet. Please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman. Excellent.
We had some good times, didn't we? Unlike Dick Wilson, I remember all his kids that he has out here today. Because we spent a lot of trips together, and I know what he did on those trips. And I'm also pissed tonight because Tana's husband left to go to watch the ball game, and I got to take her home. What the hell is that? Oh, she's got gas money, never mind. I don't know that we knew what we had when we started here in 1974. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. It sure turned out to be a great thing, didn't it? And I want to thank all of you for coming. I appreciate it. It was great. We got to talk to a lot of people that we haven't seen in a long time. And it was great. And Shooting Star is going to be great. You guys, I hope you had a great night. Thank you very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce that we all lock arms and give you one last bow. How's that? about a nice round of applause for your youth, ladies and gentlemen? How about that?